Namaskar, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Tina Jha. You're watching Perspective. The government on Thursday unveiled the first part of the much-awaited national hydrogen policy. Power and New and Renewable Energy Minister R.K. Singh said the government is targeting production of 5 million tons of green hydrogen by 2030. The policy allows free interstate wheeling of renewable energy used in the production of green hydrogen and ammonia, as it seeks to boost usage of the carbon-free fuel and also make India an export hub. It also offers 25 years of free power transmission for any new renewable energy plants set up to supply power for green hydrogen production before July 2025. There will also be a single portal for all clearances required for setting up green hydrogen production, as well as a facility for producers to bank any surplus renewable energy generated with discoms for up to 30 days and use it as required. So these are some broad contours of phase one of the policy, but how is it going to benefit producers of green hydrogen? How will it boost India's energy security and also make India the hub of green hydrogen in the global rush? How will it help us achieve the net zero emission targets? These are some of the aspects that we will be discussing in the course of the program today with an eminent panel of experts who are joining me on the program. So let me first introduce them to you. I have with me Dr. Vibha Dhawan. She's Director General, the Energy and Resources Institute. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us on the program on Sansad TV. I also have with me Dr. K.A. Subramanian, Head of Department, Energy, Science and Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi. Welcome to Sansad TV, Dr. Subramanian. And Mr. Praful Pathak, he's President, Solar Energy Society of India. Mr. Pathak, thank you for your time. Dr. Subramanian, let me begin the program, in fact, with you. Your first words on phase one of this much-awaited green hydrogen policy, which has been announced by the government.
This is a great step for achieving the net zero by 2070. The hydrogen is one important and now announced green hydrogen and green ammonia. Green ammonia usually used by industries, especially refineries and ammonia production for fertilizers and other industries. Ammonia is a vector, energy vector. Ammonia, suppose hydrogen producing from renewable energy sources, like say solar photovoltaic, wind. The electricity generation again fed into electrolyzer with water and producing hydrogen. Then from the hydrogen, again from the nitrogen reacting Haber-Bosch process, producing ammonia one route. But the challenges of hydrogen, how to store it. So that is need more energy. Now the ammonia option is there. So then ammonia can act as an energy vector, means easily store and transport it. This is the one great opportunity for exporting hydrogen to other countries rather than liquefied hydrogen or gaseous hydrogen or hydride. That is another route is there, but this is another one. Another one, ammonia industry. I mean, every kg of ammonia uses and production of ammonia 1 kg and around 2 kg of CO2 emission coming from the industries. So this is a great opportunity to the industries usage of green hydrogen. The main point is that the cost of hydrogen, now the renewable energy, because a revolution happened in this country, it is coming around 2 rupees per unit power. The electrolyzer need around 50 unit power. Still is the 100 rupees of on-site hydrogen generation possible. Again, electrolyzer efficiency increases. Again, it will cost what we are targeting, $1 of price of hydrogen cost around 70 rupees. That is possible. But today is around $3 to $6. Then in future, it will be coming down. Okay. So this is a great one, ammonia's link with hydrogen. And whenever talking the renewable energy, hydrogen is integrated one. Whenever fossil energy talking that carbon capture storage is a mandatory, the similar way renewable energy talking that hydrogen is embedded because energy storage is the medium of hydrogen. Now hydrogen embedded with ammonia.
Okay.
So now three together integrated, and we use hydrogen and green ammonia in many purpose, especially industry need electricity and heat, and the heat also can be sourced by hydrogen. So steel industry need coal, the coal can be replaced with hydrogen in future if hydrogen produced by surplus and affordable price. So industry also can explore many ways using hydrogen and green ammonia for many purposes. Then really we
Absolutely,
can
and
achieve
lots of incentives have been announced for producers, Mr. Pathak. The National Hydrogen Mission was announced in 2021. 2022, we are seeing phase 1 of the policy being unveiled, and lots of incentives to entice all the investors, the producers of green hydrogen, to not just increase production in the country itself, but also make India the export hub of green hydrogen. In this global rush, we need to become the leader. So towards that aspect, looking at the kind of contours that the phase 1 of the policy has announced, do you see it as a policy direction, particularly to the investors in mapping out future investments for this particular sector, and also to the producers to now go ahead and plan the logistics?
Very sure. I can compare the today's situation with the situation in solar industry or about the solar policy in 2010. Means about 10 years back, we were in a similar situation. The government incentives or government initiatives and the directions which said by government at that time, that has taken the direction to the solarization which we are seeing today. And in the due course, the industry also responded to the government, and they entered, and the rate of the solar power which we were getting at that time and what we are getting, it is all because of the government initiatives at that time and the response by industry. On the same line, whatever the policy that has come up or that we are talking about, so there is similar, and whatever the initiations or incentives that has been given in the policy, we are sure that what we are aiming after 10 years means we are aiming for something achievable in 2030. So we are sure that the policy which first phase of policy which has come up, that will benefit the stakeholders who are there. But we are particularly happy that the government has considered for renewable energy input for all this process. Means solar and wind will have a boost because of this policy, and we are happy for that.
Dr. Dhawan, coming to you for your perspective, green hydrogen is described as the fuel of the future. How do you look at this phase 1 of the green hydrogen policy that the government has unveiled yesterday? Is it going to be a game changer, especially when it comes to ensuring energy security of India?
Well, if we look at the Prime Minister's commitment, whether it was in Glasgow or the hydrogen policy, it is something that he has made those commitments on behalf of every Indian. So really speaking, he has confidence that this can be achieved. And then it is forward-looking, because it is not only that this much by 2030, 50% will be renewable, and by 2070 will be net zero. As government is also working in that direction, that what steps should be taken up. Solar, it's great, but then it is not for all kind of industries.
Yes.
And hydrogen, it's going to be much cheaper, much cleaner, and therefore there has to be emphasis on doing or bringing hydrogen to the country, and also export hydrogen if possible. So the commitment as well as actions, they clearly show that one is moving in that direction. It's very important because industry also get a sort of confidence that this is going to continue. So therefore, they will be willing to make investments. And I'm very happy to inform, last week we have the World Sustainable Development Summit, in which was inaugurated by the Prime Minister. So there also he mentioned the role of hydrogen, and very well said that it is all aspects. It is not just hydrogen. It is also, we have to look how we are going to generate, how we are going to store, how we are going to transport. And there I see one important component, because one is that you are moving to, or energy transition, you are moving to a new fuel, new energy provider, or energy generated, hydrogen energy. You also need capacity building, because you also need to be sure that you are absorbing, you are able to absorb the technology, because it's storage, it is distribution. So you also need a different kind of manpower which need to be trained. So that is another responsibility I should say, on many of the institutes, IITs, TERI, and so many of us who can contribute in that. But we should also ensure that that capacity building and what we talk about green jobs being generated. So hydrogen will be a very powerful source in generating jobs as well as fuel, which will be much cheaper. And I always believe that it is energy security is also security of the country. It's as important as food security and extremely important for development of any country.
Absolutely. Dr. Subramaniam, so we have laid the roadmap towards becoming a hydrogen economy. Green hydrogen is the fuel of the future. But looking at the challenges in this particular sector, large-scale infrastructure, obviously high cost of hydrogen production, transmission and storage, and also because hydrogen is a difficult molecule to handle. That is one very, very challenging aspect when we talk about green hydrogen. So looking at these challenges, how do you think in the times to come, we will be able to surmount these challenges to be able to achieve the targets that we have set for ourselves?
The cost of hydrogen could be higher than whatever today, deriving from other things, but it can be reduced by the electrolyzer efficiency is increased further. And now the renewable energy, especially photovoltaic power plants, generating electricity at the cost of around 2 rupees on site, I'm saying that per unit power. So hydrogen production need, as on today's technology of electrolyzer with the given efficiency, it needs 50 units of electricity. That means 50 even on site 2 rupees in 100, but actually the grid power, the cost is 78 rupees. So 8 into 50, around 400 rupees per kg today. It's a costlier one. Second is that energy storage. Hydrogen storing, it needs a different kind of technology, either the type 3, type 4 cylinder, or the liquid hydrogen, or hydride needs some, right? But the one is that for transportation application, successful type 3, type 4 cylinder, but in the ammonia production, the low pressure storage in the tubular possible, or the another possibility now, the green ammonia. Hydrogen can be stored in the form of ammonia, and wherever need, then we can regenerate the hydrogen from ammonia. Ammonia can be used for urea production and other things, and also ammonia can be energy vector and energy carrier. We can transport easily, store at around minus 33 degrees centigrade atmospheric pressure. You can hydrogen store in the form of ammonia and gas3. Then you can again reform it, get back the hydrogen one. So in this way, in future, the hydrogen price could be reduced. In the infrastructure challenges, first hydrogen production needs the electrolyzer. Electrolyzer, now a lot of companies are coming in our country, and a lot of other countries are interested to set up the manufacturing plants in our country. Then in near future, electrolyzer, the capital cost will come that if it go mass scale up. So that is the one. And now the policy is one innovative way that wherever you're producing whatever electricity in some places, and the producing hydrogen on site and transporting is not very expensive. Now the policy, what they say that, let us say Rajasthan, you can put the PV plant, produce, but market is somewhere else. That means no need to produce hydrogen in Rajasthan and transport into other states. Now you can put electrolyzer wherever you want, in wherever hydrogen demands the industry, they can put electrolyzer on, and grid-based electricity can be used to generate ammonia. It is a great innovative ideas and the plan and policies. In this way, it could be the cheaper of ammonia and also hydrogen. This is the one. And the safety, yes, hydrogen safety. Because hydrogen is unlike other fuels, it is a unique fuel. The once is anything happening that is the ignition, external ignition sources happening that, then it's explored. The flame velocity of hydrogen is much more higher than other normal fuel. That is the one aspect we are to be considered very seriously. And our hydrogen ignition needs 0.02 millijoule. Around others are need around 20 plus millijoule. This is a very, very light energy is sufficient to ignite. But otherwise, it's having a lot of advantages. The moment hydrogen reaches the atmosphere, it's dispersed quickly. And that is another positive aspect of that. Suppose in confined space, it is hydrogen consumes more if any external exhaust source is available than export. So then we are having technology, and we have to strengthen the safety aspect as well with wherever hydrogen handling. That is very, very important. That needs to be strengthened. This is what my thing. Thank you.
Okay, so since we're talking about advantages, let me go back to Dr. Dhawan and discuss the environmental benefits, because the hydrogen policy boosting production of green hydrogen is not only helping us in smooth transition and ensuring energy security, but obviously it's going to play a significant role in also achieving the 2030 targets and beyond to the 2070 net zero targets that India has committed to. Dr. Dhawan, so towards achieving our sustainable development goals, towards meeting the climate targets, how significant is hydrogen going to be? Is it going to be the savior to our net zero targets?
You're absolutely right. Of the available technologies today, perhaps hydrogen has enormous future. Let's not say hydrogen is the only one, because somewhere it's going to be solar, somewhere hydropower, somewhere geothermal. So there are going to be, like we say, one shoe doesn't fit all. So therefore, for different applications, we'll have to depend on different renewables. Dr. Subramaniam listed about the cost, but let's look into, like solar was so expensive few years back, so that way the prices had come down. Mobile phone is another example. So prices are bound to come down as the technology evolves.
Yes.
So one requires investment in the technology as well, and there are going to be economies of scale. Now coming to hydrogen or any of the renewable technologies for that matter, we have to do a LCA analysis. We are talking of electric vehicles. We also have to look into what goes in the preparation of that vehicle. It is not that only that it will run on solar. It will run on electricity. How are we generating electricity? So therefore, one will have to look into the entire value chain. And over there, one expects hydrogen to be much cleaner than the existing technologies. And again, I'm not saying against the technology in any of the technology, because let's look at solar. We may have problem of photovoltaics, but I'm a very optimistic person. So one is going to research on how to recover what is there in the old panels. So similarly, whatever infrastructure it is, yes, capex is high for hydrogen to begin with, but economy of scales and the payback period, if one will look into all those things, it is going to be affordable. But then I'll say it is cheaper, because we are ignoring most of the time what is the health impact when CO2 is emitted. We look at Delhi air pollution, it's such a big problem. Come November and it's something like we are going to choke.
Yes.
So therefore, we all need cleaner environment, not just cleaner that we feel safe. It is also the health impacts which are really, really bad when the CO2 levels or the other impurities in the air are high, which are basically through the fossil fuel burning. So therefore, hydrogen will take us to a cleaner environment as well as energy security and energy affordability, which will add to the development.
Absolutely.
So that's what I like to say just now.
Okay, so multiple benefits discussed in terms of affordability, in terms of ensuring energy security for India, becoming energy self-sufficient and self-reliant in the years to come. But Mr. Pathak, this is just phase one of the policy. Phase two is awaited, and that is where the larger impact is going to be, because it is going to talk about the mandates. What are the kind of expectations from phase two of the policy? Because that will ensure the trajectory of what has been laid out in phase one of the policy.
Well, the main aim of us is to reduce the fossil fuel, to reduce the carbon emission. Secondly, we are also concentrating on a reduction in our fuel requirement, which are our fuel requirement by way of crude oil are very high. So those are the two things which we are aiming for. And to reduce both these things, what we are aiming is to have a renewable energy mix. So solar, wind, then energy storage is another thing which has come up, which was not earlier some years back. and now we are talking about hydrogen. So in my opinion, if we have this type of energy mix which is available in the last 10 years, and looking at the target which we have set for 2030 and 2070, the first step we have taken. Now it is the response of the stakeholders, the industry and others. And we are sure that that is what has happened in the case of solar, and now happening in the case of energy storage, we have seen. So looking at, I'm sure in the second phase, means this first phase which has been initiated, this is the first step, and being this, it will start the our approach, our initiation towards the energy security. And basically we are aiming for clean energy. So
Absolutely.
this be the base for the second phase we are looking for. And our previous experience has shown that once we infuse funds, once the government takes initiative, the industry responds, the scaling happens. So because of that, we can see the cost which is already high in the initial time, particularly at the phase one, that reduces. And once that cost comes down, it becomes affordable, or it is near to affordable. So the response of the users or the end users will come to that, and that results in more and more use of that. And similarly, we are targeting for something, means because of this policy, we are targeting that we will be exporter for all these things. So that is another good thing. And I'm sure that the previous years, or in last 5-10 years, whatever we have seen in all those industries wherein we look for, and particularly for the clean energy or the energy security, we have achieved to the what targets we have set. And
I think
on that
it'll be
basis,
interesting to see how we chart out the trajectory for future, because at present what we have done is we are following the approach of multi-dimensional, multi-energy security mix, and it'll be interesting to see, and what will actually decide our future is how we chart out the trajectory of growth to achieve these goals that we are talking about for 2030 and beyond, also to 2070. So time is running out. With that, I'll have to call it a wrap on this edition of Perspective today. Thank you to all my guests for joining us on the program today, putting across your perspective before us and our viewers. It was a pleasure having you on the program today on Sansad TV. So that's it from us on this edition of Perspective today. Thanks very much to all our viewers as well for their time.